Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
Sure have not.
The summer heat never
Or a jet skier.
It leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another.
Here we go.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care.
No, I don't care. Where we headed?
Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
To the hook.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, not so live. This week we are not so live because we gotta focus. We got a big one today, and this is the podcast for Memorial Day, May 25th. Recording this on Sunday night, but we got a good one. 3 pages of notes right here. We going in the paint. There's fishing related news. We're fixing to do this. We got a big guest. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. I got a camera over here making noises. I don't even know what that's about. It's gonna be a good time. Low lifers. Hope you're all doing well out there and staying safe and all this craziness, and your lives are hopefully getting back to some sort of sense of normalcy out there. But I am coming to you not so live from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill. Got some Startron. We got a little drink in the old cup here, and we are we're gonna do it tonight, today, Monday. When you guys will hear this, it'll be Monday. But got a good one. Happy Memorial Day to you. We are very thankful for all you men and women out there serving and fighting for our country, and all the ones that have died for our freedoms. We are very much in debt to all of you. So I want to start by saying that. Memorial Day is normally thought of as just a day of, for a lot of people, it's just, hey man, it's the day to get the boat out for the first time in a year. You know, or the jet ski, or the wave runners, or the deck boats and the ski boats and the pontoon. This is where it goes down, Memorial Day. So God bless you if you went out on the water this weekend. I did, and it's a little wild. It's a little wild. It's a little crazy. Gas is cheap, and so the folks are out, and I'm all for it. I work in the around the boating, marine industry, and of course professional fishing, and I'm all for seeing folks on the water. You know, I like being at the boat ramp and people being like, skirt, 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 pull up, back up, letting the boat float off the trailer with nobody in it, trying to crank it. Hey buddy, I think it's your kill switch. No, I don't think that's it. No, I think it's your kill switch. Tina, pull the truck back down here. I think the battery's dead. No, man, I think it's your kill switch. There's a lot of that goes on Memorial Day. But we get the opportunity to be out there, though, because of the men and women that fight for us. So we're very thankful for that. And hope y'all got out on the water. I did. Went with the Triple Threat on Saturday. We went and did a little cruising in the Ranger. We fished some. We caught some fish, caught some white bass. We caught some largemouth on a couple little offshore places on a big CC20 crankbait. So that was fun. And we rode around for a few hours, got sunburned a little bit. It was good. It was all good. And this morning, I got up with old Marty D, and we went to one of our favorite little lakes. He called me last night, and he's like, hey, I want to go bluegill fishing. And I want somebody to go with me because if I don't have anybody with me, I can only keep 20. And I was like, well, Dad, I'm sorry that I'm shutting you down from only keeping 20. So I went with him, and we rode around. We actually made a video about it. I'm going to post it thought it was really fun and did something I've never done before, brim fishing, bluegill fishing. I used my side imaging to find them, and then we caught them. And it was a grand time. We caught 40, caught our limit pretty quick. Even threw in an old channel cat in there and threw him in the old box and caught some nice shell crackers, some bluegill. And we had fun. A lot of fun, 4-pound line, the whole deal. And Dad and I just hanging out together. And we've, with all this craziness going on, he's kind of been freaked out by this whole thing. So more so than me. And he's been, and he's older and he's taking his precautions, but he's been staying away from me and the kiddos and the triple threat and my brother a little bit. And so it was good to fish with him, get out in the boat with him. We actually went one morning last week to bass fishing for a few hours, but it was good. It was good to be out with Marty D, and we caught him up. It's been a crazy last few days, as usual in my life, but an action-packed few days. I feel like life's getting back to normal. You know, we have big fishing news this week. We're going to get to that in just a minute. We're going to get to that, all of you. Don't talk about other stuff. Talk about fishing. We're getting to it. Boats and pros, baby. Boats and pros. So Friday morning, I got up super early, and I drove over to East Tennessee with an undisclosed boat hooked to the back of the old Chevrolet, and drove over to Chattanooga and met with my main man, Tanner Lyons, and with the next Boats and Pros guest, Carl Jacobson, the Aussie himself. And it was awesome. We had difficulties, just say the least. We had huge storm. I've been watching the weather for days. And we've had these pop-up storms. Well, Carl called me the day before. I don't do a good Australian accent, so I'm not going to attempt to imitate my friend Carl. But he was like, mate, it's not looking good. And I'm like, no, man, if we meet at 9:30, there's a gap and yada, yada. So I drove 2.5 hours, meet him. Tanner comes up. He's at Gunnersville filming with Swindle and Darian on some stuff right now. Stupid, dumb Darian. And we get over there, and I swear we have been there for 3 minutes, and I'm talking about all hell breaks loose with the weather. It's storming, lightning, thundering, rain. You can't, if any of you guys follow me on Instagram, I'm sure some of you do, I'm documenting the whole thing, but it was just insanity. Just pouring rain. And so we sat there. And of course, the biggest part of Boats and Pros is being in the boat with said pro. So Carl was generous enough. He took us to his shop, which is about an hour north of where we were. He had driven down to meet me, and we ended up filming most of Boats and Pros in Carl's shop. Waited for hours for the rain to go away. Absolutely one of my favorite interviews of this series out of the 4 episodes so far. I've loved every one of them, but this was great because I don't know a ton about Carl, just like you guys don't, obviously from another continent. And it was great. I hope it comes across, man, I had chills through a ton of these stories, and I hope it comes across that way to you guys when we drop this episode in the next couple of weeks. But it was so, and Tanner was like, yeah, this is good stuff. And being there at his shop with Kayla and Rue and the little dog Rue, it was just cool seeing his Elite Series trophy. And he showed us a lot of cool things that are going to make the episode. And then the rain cleared out, and we took this boat. And by a mile, this is the craziest boat we've had yet. Matter of fact, Carl said, mate, I need a shirt that says, I survived Boats and Pros. That's what he said. And Harper coming in for the left here, stage left. You can't see her. She's off camera. You're distracting me during my opening segment, Harper. Thank you so much. So sorry. You distracted so many fans. So many low-lifers, Harper. They're worried about if you got your spray butter or not, Harp. She did get her spray butter fixed today, as a matter of fact, at a cookout, at a delicious cookout. But Carl was actually, I felt, was kind of scared in this boat, and for good reason. And you'll see why. But motor didn't run great. It kept cutting off. We had some issues, and it's just needless to say, I can't wait for you guys to see it. And the motor could have used some what? Startron. There we go. There we go. Could have used some StarTron because it was spitting and sputtering. I think that fuel had been in there for a little bit, and that ethanol was whipping up on it, and they hadn't put any StarTron in the tank, and you could tell. And that StarTron's going to run in there, and it's just going to hit that ethanol right in the teeth. And that's why you need to use StarTron. And StarTron brings you Low Budget Live. I get messages from you guys, hey, what can I do to support Low Budget Live? Well, support the people that support Low Budget Live. And support Luke Duncan and the Traveling Circus. You know, go get you some StarTron, get you some Starbright product. They sell this stuff everywhere. Everywhere. I know so many people. It's so funny because I feel like this is kind of like fishing industry to me, right? StarTron, but it's not. It's not. It's in auto parts houses and Walmarts and Kmart's. Is there still Kmart's? I doubt it. But Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's and Academies and True Value Hardwares and Tractor Supplies and yada, 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 on and on and on and on. StarTron. And I have so many friends that are like, oh, man, I use StarTron all the time. See a logo on my truck or listen to the podcast. So many of you are already using that, but they also make Starbright cleaning products. Great line of products and a great company. So we thank them. And we are working on the Shake Your StarTron giveaway. I'm ironing out the details, and we will be talking about that very soon. So thanks to the fine folks at StarTron. All right. Let me get me a drink. I'm out of breath, man. Triple Threats had me doing chores all afternoon. I got up early this morning. Here we go. All right. We're back. We are back. Fishing is back. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. A lot of the things in the country are back. We got things coming back on, you know. Some people are fighting. We shouldn't be open in the country. And some people are like, hell yeah. And some people are like, I'm wearing a mask. And some people are like, no. And people are like, you're stupid. And I'm stupid. And some people are coughing on people that wear masks. I don't know if that's happening, but I think that would be kind of funny to see, actually. But some stores are like, if you don't wear a mask, you're not coming in here. But you know what? All that aside, bass fishing's back, and we don't care. We're bringing it. Tournaments, I think there's a Toyota Series this week on Pickwick Lake. It's got some big names in it down there, some locals. So we'll see how that shakes out. But big news from all two of the organizations this week. Big news. The first one I'm going to start on is Bassmaster. The fine folks at BASS, Bassmaster. This is something they announced this week. My mustache is itching. I don't know what's the deal with that. But sorry, guys. You're not supposed to touch your face during all this, but touch away. So I said, and I'm pretty sure I said it on one of the episodes last fall. Can't remember. I know I've said this to some friends of mine at Bass. They announced this week that the Bassmaster Opens will be live. What? Live coverage on the final day of the Bass Opens. And I think that's huge. I've said that for years. They need better coverage. They're going to have Bass Track as well because they haven't had the boots on the ground at those events to cover them like I have felt like they needed to cover them for years. I lose interest in the Opens at times because I can't get that up to the minute information that you're craving, especially when I got friends doing well. But I'm a tournament junkie, so I like to see that. And over the years, I just haven't had that. And sometimes, they had like Ronnie Moore out on the water. Ronnie be sending in updates, but you got co-anglers fishing, so they can't really be saying, my partner's got 12 pounds or whatever because they're trying to do work and win out the back too. So, but Bass Track, they're going to have co-anglers and pros on Bass Track, and of course Bass Live. It's going to be really cool. And I think that for a lot of these Opens anglers, that's a really big deal. It's a big deal if you got sponsors. But what that said to me, because for me that makes it exciting for bass in particular and Bassmaster anglers, is it's a sign of good news and things to come because that's an expensive thing, right? To broadcast those, it costs, I don't even know what it costs. It's not low budget, right? And they had to sign a couple new sponsors to be able to pull that off. And I think that's to sign or reach into, get some sponsors to reach a little deeper to pony up for that because they felt that was very important to them. That's awesome. So congrats to them on selling that. I think that's huge. Live coverage is mo better. We like that. And then this week, we've got the Bassmaster Classic, the 2021 Bassmaster Classic announcement of where that's going down, and they're doing it in big style. Gerald, the G-Man Swindle, and Riley Green, country music sensation. I like me some Riley Green. I like Riley. Good guy. And they're going to be out on Gunnersville doing some fishing. And this was just going to be a little backstory. I've heard about this for a couple weeks from G. And they were actually going to be over there when I was over there. And Gerald's been trying to put Riley and I together for years musically. It just never happens. And Gerald was like, because G's like my number one dude and really helps me out in every way, shape, form, or fashion and takes care of me. But he's like, hey, man, I'm going to play Biloxi Blues in the boat the whole time just see if it gets Riley's attention, which is just typical G and really funny. But they're doing it big now. They're going Bassmaster Live. It's not just a normal fishing trip. They're going to be out on the water on Wednesday, so you don't want to miss that. And we'll see if G lives up to it, and that Biloxi Blues is just a song for Bassmasters Live with the Bassmaster Live with Riley Green. We'll just see if just Biloxi Blues on loop. So be listening, and if you're watching, just comment, hey, we need Biloxi Blues. A whole bunch. Low lifers, get on there. We don't even care about the classic announcement. Biloxi Blues, Biloxi Blues, Biloxi Blues. I've been giving G a hard time. I texted him yesterday. I was like, remember, on a loop, Biloxi Blues. And I have other songs, right? A lot of other songs, and I'm writing new songs, but that one's near and dear to my heart, and a lot of people seem to like that one the best, but just kind of funny. Biloxi Blues. So watch the Bass Live on Wednesday of this week and give those guys all your attention and a hard time as well. If there's a way to comment, do that. All right, here we go. Moving on. I've got such a good guest, a guy that I've been wanting to have on here for a while, but I got about, a few minutes before we can have him on. And because he was doing a few things tonight. But so here we go. Now for the MLFLW news/change of the week. The roster is set for the Super Tournaments. Super biggest tournaments ever. So roster set. And the list came out, and you had all the FLW guys that have been fishing the first 3 this year listed that are in a battle for points and all this stuff. And they're fishing to qualify for the Bass Pro Tour, but now they're going to get to fish against Bass Pro Tour guys, but it's not going to affect the points, and that's not confusing at all. What? Yeah, and so 56 of the 80 of the 80 Bass Pro Tour guys are going to compete in these FLW events to finish the year. 56. Not 80, not 70, 56. Now, they got the majority. But they didn't get all of them, and I've got a lot of questions. As always. But so 56 of the 80 Bass Pro Tour faithful that fought tooth and nail, risked losing sponsors, risked losing it all to go to this new trail, this format, every fish counts, we take care of them better than you, blah, 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 have all decided that it's okay, or at least sending the message, that it's okay to pay entry fees, that it's okay to put fish in live wells, that it's okay to put coal tags in their mouth, it's okay to throw them in weigh-in bags, and it's okay to have weigh-ins. What? Mixed signals? What? Mixed messages? What? I don't know. For fans that have pissed and moaned about the format and all that, here you go. Here's your chance to see those guys in a 5-fish environment again. It's just going to be in a 206 boat tournament instead of on the Elite Series or the original FLW Tour. I don't know. Sadly, on this list, we are not going to get that Kevin Van Dam versus Jason Christie with a Y matchup we've all been looking for. We're not going to get Jason Christie versus Jason Christie for $100,000. We're not going to see that because missing from this list of 56 are some pretty big names. Kevin Van Dam, ring a bell, who's also an owner in He's not fishing them. Ott Defoe, not fishing them. Ish Monroe, not fishing them. Iconelli, not fishing. Jason Christie, Randall Tharp, Prosnick, Mark Rose, okay? Chris Lane, Hackney, Brent Chapman, Scott Suggs, Greg Vincent, Shin Fukai, Jared Littner, several more, including Jeff Sprague, who, was Mr. FLW just a little bit ago, but decided not to fish these. So those are some big names that have opted out of this. And originally, I know for sure this was voted down. I know that 100%. This was voted down by the anglers big time. And for me, if I'm a Bass Pro Tour guy, I am voting it down too, because I do not want them to think it's okay for me to pay entry fees. Even I've heard talk that they might not actually be paying entry fees or something. I don't know, but there's a lot of talk about that, or a loan program or something crazy on entry fees from MLF. Hey, man, we'll pay your entry fees if you're a BPT guy. I don't know. It's a mess, but I think that you are selling yourself short if you tell those guys, and those guys being the owners of MLF or sponsors, that you're willing to pay an entry fee again, because that is the hill you chose to stand on and fight for, right? And you can blame it on Corona, you can blame it on whatever you want, but that's bullcrap. They bought FLW, things aren't going good, and then this happens on top of that, on top of all of this, and now they need those guys to try to prop up FLW, and they can't afford to have more no entry fee events. So they're putting them over here and making them fish for their own money. I don't know, man. I don't know. It doesn't look good to me. I obviously don't know the finances. I'm sure there will be statements made after this podcast or after any other criticism that states that they're great financially. I understand there are very wealthy men involved in this, but I also understand that there are sponsors cutting back every single day. And there are sponsors cutting Bass Pro Tour guys every single day. So it's just confusing, man. And if you were going to just go back and fish 5-fish tournaments and pay entry fees, why the hell would you leave Bass, and why the hell would you leave FLW in the first place if you're just going to go back and fish the same damn thing again without a Forest Wood Cup at the end? I mean, it's just stupid. So, and I know some of these guys, I mean, they're just trying to fish tournaments. Like, I have good friends that are in that 56 that are going to fish because this is what they do for a living. Their sponsor contract state they have to fish so many pro tournaments. They have no choice. They have no choice. And you're going to hear people argue, oh, the payout goes down to 100. Great. Great. That's not the point. The point is, they built it on not paying entry fees. They built this. Guys like Gary Klein have fought for years. Smaller fields, smaller fields, smaller fields. They finally get it whittled down to 80. Oh, we're going to go 206 because this is a weird year in Corona or whatever. No, this is lunacy to me. Lunacy. And I see FLW goes, this is great for the sport. No, it's not. This is great for FLW. No, it's not. It's dumb. It's dumb. And now it's going to be more confusing because you're going to have tournaments going on or points going on within the tournament that only go to FLW guys, but you're going to have these BPT guys competing, and it's just going to be this mixed up mess. Like, how's a fan that barely, because they pride themselves on growing the sport and more people getting more eyeballs on it, how are you going to explain that to somebody that doesn't keep up with this crap like we all do, that bitch about it and do podcasts, which, by the way, there are too many fishing podcasts now. I know I'm on that bandwagon. I've been doing one for 2 years, but like, good God, through this Corona, it's just a totally different rant for another day. But everybody's like, hey, check it out live. I got these guys and goofy thumbnails and just like a lot of other people are doing. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Cool idea that everybody else had already. Anyways, it's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm on a rant tonight. But all of this, like I'm saying, they've stood on this hill. They've planted their flag. They had that damn commercial about basically backed the truck over the entire tournament world, from Tuesday night tournaments to freaking, any other team tournament or solo 5-fish tournament, throwing them in weigh-in bags and putting cull tags on them and riding them around in live wells. And then the whole thing we've talked about numerous times on this show, and now you're just going back to it. But you're still going to have your cups, which are TV shows, and they're blaming a lot of it on TV time. Oh, we have the TV schedule. If we don't get these filmed by a certain date, it's TV. Well, I don't understand how all that works. I won't ever claim to. But I feel like if the guy that owns part of this organization, and Stan Kroenke, owns several networks, yeah, you could probably get some different TV time slots. If I'm a BPT guy, I'm asking that question. I'm asking that question. But, ultimately, I think it will be interesting to watch. I think it'll be cool. I do have more questions on some of the guys that didn't fish. I'd like to know why Jeff Sprague didn't fish, I'm sure some of these guys are probably going to see it's beneath them to go backwards to FLW. It's funny. Or they're scared, to take a butt kicking, or they just don't like the deal at all, right? Like, I wonder, a guy like Fletcher Schrag this year, or this past fall, we all remember the wolves and sheep thing and blah, 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 blah. And he seems to be just like, hey, anything MLF puts in my cup, I'm drinking. And he stood there firm in his words, called the guys at Bass a sheep, whatever. And now he's not fishing this. So it's like, are you not wanting to compete against these people, or are you pissed at what MLF's doing? I think there's a lot of that. I'm hearing both. I mean, there are people really frustrated with this situation and with this decision, And I think it's clear that it changes so much. How can you keep up with it? I don't know. The bottom line of all of it, though, is it does not need to fail. I don't want to see it fail. I've said it many times. It's bad for the industry if it fails. But I don't know if it's as bad as it has been for the industry just being in the industry because it has created more turmoil and more just crap than I can even wrap my head around. And I think it speaks volumes. And you're going to hear some of these bigger name guys say, well, man, I had sponsor commitment, so I couldn't da-da-da-da-da. There's going to be excuses as to why some of these bigger name guys are not fishing it, but come on, man. At the end of the day, a guy like Kevin Van Dam, regardless of the excuse, does not want to fish a 206 boat tournament and pay an entry fee. He doesn't. He did that. He cut his teeth doing that. He fought through the ranks. He fought through this changeover. He left Bass and everything he knew to go form the BPT, to not pay entry fees, to make it the greatest thing that's ever happened. And I bet you somewhere deep down, he don't want to be a part of this FLW thing, right? Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, Kev, call me. Call me, buddy. Call me on that. But I think that we are seeing some major issues with this. I do. I really do. And I think the Central Opens are going to be interesting. Pay attention to the BPT guys that fish those, because I'm sure there are going to be some that sign up that weren't going to fish Bassmaster Opens, because I feel like some guys are going to be trying to get the hell out of there. I've heard of a couple more that want to get out, and you can't blame them. Word on the street is, rumor I'm hearing, and the potential is there for them to pay entry fees next year for the Bass Pro Tour, which was supposed to be this entry-free fee deal. And I'm telling you right now, if I roll up, they already changed from year 1 to year 2. They're going to do the drive-through not weigh-in, but post-game and all that. They took all that away. That's something that all those guys were selling sponsors. I worked for a sponsor. I saw the packets guys were sending, hey, we're getting all this live camera time, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Then it didn't go good because nobody showed up to watch them drive up in their boats and stand on a stage and talk. So they killed it this year because it's expensive. It's expensive financially. Whack, killed it. They killed a lot of things that they were doing. Now they're trying to pump red crest. Well, how do you even qualify for red? Oh, through these however many tournaments that they actually fished instead of the entire season they were going to fish. But now they're going to fish FLW, but FLW guys can't make red crest. Like, it's all such a jumbled up mess of confusion. And I mean, I'm just like, stick to your guns, even if you run out of bullets. Stick to your guns. Stick to them. I will respect you more if you stick to your guns. I will. I can respect mistakes. Like, you're trying something new. There's a really good chance it's going to fail. Don't cram it down people's throats, though, and then back off the gas. Don't cram it down sponsors' throats and then go, oh, well, we're going to go over here and we're going to do this now, but we need you to stay with us. Like, that's not how it works. And slow and steady a lot of times just wins the race. And I think that we could see that here. Next year, 2021 is a monumental year for that group. Number one, it is the third year when the contracts run out and people can drop back to the FLW Tour, which they're already fishing. So they're, again, very confusing. And supposedly people from the tour pro circuit are going to move up to fish this. So it's a big year, but it's a bigger year because it has to freaking work. Now you've got all this confusion. And look, before it's even said, I understand there are a lot of people out of work. I understand that we had 6 weeks of the economy sucking. But I work in the boating industry, and I'm seeing things coming back around. I'm seeing people build boats again. I'm seeing people buy boats. I'm seeing people spend money. I'm seeing stores and restaurants and things opening back up. So hopefully the economy will start building again. Hopefully. So it's not all economy based. And it's not all COVID-19. It's not. And there are a lot of companies making decisions that they're using that as an excuse. And I've talked about that on here. And they're cutting pro staff and they're doing this and ain't got anything to freaking do with COVID. There's companies, not even in fishing, outside of, that are cutting employees. They're just doing it to pad their bottom dollars. It's corporate America. It's how it freaking works. It just is. I live it every day, man. Every single day. But I can tell you right now, 2021 is going to be monumental for those guys. It's got to be. It's got to be. Text our guest. Yeah, it's got to be. They've got to knock it out of the park, or it's teetering. It's like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You remember Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and you're and you hit the dude once, and he's like, woo. And every time you got him a little bit more, he's like, woo. So they don't want to, woo. They want to be able to get back up. You want to be able to hit both A and B on that Nintendo controller and get back up. And here's my thing. I understand a lot of people have a lot of money, big brains behind this thing. But it's got to be profitable at some point. It's got to stand on its own. It's not doing that right now. It's clear. It's clear that it's not making any money. So I said in the beginning it wasn't sustainable. And to do what they were doing with the no entry fees and all these things they were trying. And I feel like right now, that's just a big old exclamation point on the end of a big fat, I was right. So I said it when they bought FLW. It wasn't good. Bending sponsors over a barrel. Lost a ton of sponsor money. And here we are. You know, I'm proud those guys have somewhere to fish. I am. I care about a lot of those people. We're all brothers at the end of the day. No matter what side of the fence we're on, we're all in this thing, you know, trying to do the same thing. Make a living, feed our families through fishing. So ultimately, like I said, I don't want to see it fail, and I'm glad those guys have a landing spot to go fish some FLW tournaments and hopefully win them some money for the rest of the year. All right, moving on. My guest today, May 25th, my guest today is an interesting character. He and I have fished together. We have had knockdown dragouts over sponsor-related things before. He is very outspoken like I am. He has over $2 million in earnings over FLW and BASS over the years. He has 5 Bassmaster wins in his career. He is very well known for being stubborn in his fishing ability and fishing style, and he catches bass his way. He catches big bass, and when he wins, he hits freaking home runs, and that is the one and only Ish Monroe. And we're going to see if we can't get him on the phone right now. What's up, Ish?
What's going on, man?
How are you, dude?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just I'm recovering from a little bit of Memorial Day outings on the water. Hanging out, having a good time. But it's all it's all good, dude. It's all good. How has your Memorial Day weekend been so far?
Decent. I freaking went out and freaking made a check yesterday in a little local tournament.
Okay.
Today we got our butt a little kicked, got beat to our spot. Way it goes at times. No big deal though. The guys won. They beat me to the island I was running to, and they ended up catching 28 pounds off of it. So yeah, exactly. So way it goes though. That's fishing.
Is that a California Delta tournament then?
Yeah. They had two back-to-back California tournaments. They had on the Delta today and yesterday.
Okay, so you're not saltwater fishing this weekend then? I've been seeing you saltwater fish some on social media.
Yeah, that was last week on Thursday.
Okay.
and possibly tomorrow. If I could talk my girlfriend into letting me go.
I like it, dude. I'm begging my wife to let me go in the morning for a little bit. I've been the last 2 days. And I'm trying to get away from some chores tomorrow, so hopefully that's not going to happen. I'll get to catch some fish. But so you've been through this California quarantine, because I know they're pretty locked up out there, as much or more so than the rest of the country. Have you been able to get out on the water a lot?
No, it's not. Once again, what you hear about on the media, a lot of it, once again, as they call it, fake news.
I got you.
There was no real quarantine. So the county that I live in is Stanislaus County, and you would think that it's no part of what you think of California. They actually consider the town I live in is the cowboy capital of the United States.
Okay.
Is Oakdale. So, I mean, you're talking about people that, conceal weapons permits. Everybody's riding horses out here. There's lots of cows, from dairy to beef cows or for food. I mean, we've got lots of orchards. I mean, I've got 4 acres of land, so I don't live like what most people think of California. I'm near the greatest lakes in the country for fishing.
No doubt about that.
So it's a good, I would call it the good part of California, or what they would consider new California.
Yeah, I've been to Cali. I love it out there. I mean, it gets a little nutty, when you're a Tennessee boy. Yeah. I know like the stuff you're talking about. I mean, it is a wild place at times, but I love California. There's so many. It's so different from one end to the other. It's such a cool state in that, but and I'm jealous that you guys get to fish for all those freaking giants all the time.
Right, and I mean that's the deal. Is I've been fishing. I went to New Maloney's last week, and I caught over 104 hours.
Jeez,
I've been fishing the Delta, 2 to 3 days a week. I've been swinging in some saltwater fishing 1 to 2 days a week. It's just been. I've been having a great time. I've been fishing. I've been, enjoying the time off. But I'm ready to get back to tournament fishing.
I was going to say, but it sounds like you're in tune. I know that's been important for a lot of guys to try to stay with it, to stay sharp. So you're definitely sound like you're fishing a lot and ready to get down to Florida.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a long drive.
So did you, when all this craziness broke out, did you drive your rig back to Cali?
Yes, I mean, I took the RV, I took the boat, I took the truck, I took everything back to Cali. We actually stayed in Missouri for about 2 weeks to kind of see how things were going.
Right.
And, I've got everybody calling me like, oh, my God, you're not going to be able to get back home. They've locked everybody out of the borders on California. And I started making a couple phone calls to friends and people like Jared Littner. He drove back. He's like, dude, it was nothing.
Awesome.
He goes, it's just like business as normal at the border. I tell people, stop listening to the news. If you don't have the facts straight, for yourself, then they're not really true.
You got to turn the TV off sometimes. Turn Twitter off. So while we're on that, so you're going to Florida, and then what's next after that for you?
After that, for me, is I'm going to head to Ike's house, trying to work in my schedule to maybe possibly fish his Ike Foundation tournament, just a social support there. Trying. A lot of things going on in the schedule right now. With things opening up, dealers are starting to put me back in demand for, appearances, which is, the number one thing for sponsors.
No doubt.
Show up to these dealers, show your support, help them sell product, and the sponsors stay happy.
Yeah, I was just talking about that before you got on, because a lot of people are using this COVID deal, Corona, as an excuse to either cut sponsor dollars from people, or outside of fishing, people are losing their jobs, and it's a way to pad a bottom line a lot of times. You know what I mean? Because the economy did take a shot, but like you're saying, dealers are opening up, man. People are buying boats again.
Well, let me tell you, the fishing industry. So I've had this conversation with, multiple anglers, Ike and Fletcher, the guys who I see who are constantly on social media, who are constantly working, who are constantly trying to handle business with their sponsors. And we've all come to the agreement that if you got a cut from your sponsor, that was because you were going to get cut anyway.
Exactly.
If you were out there, you're doing your job. If you were out there promoting, I'm saltwater fishing, but I'm also talking about Daiwa products when I'm out there. I'm wearing Cocoon sunglasses. I didn't get to take my saltwater boat out because I was out with all my other friends, but I'm still out there posting pictures of my boats and my motors. And, I'm using the Ghost trolling motor from Lowrance. I'm doing everything and promoting. And in the meantime, I'm still at my dealer and helping other dealers sell product.
Yeah, that's
right.
And
at the end of the day, you don't have to fish tournaments to go out there and keep your sponsors. They care about selling product. And if you can do that, whether you're fishing tournaments or not, they're going to keep you.
I would agree with that for sure. And the lack of tournaments has been, an excuse for a lot of people. Like I said, we've seen it. I've seen it. You're gonna see more of it, as this year goes along. But I think we had like that 6 week, I've considered it, hitting a pause button. We hit a pause button, and now things are starting to kind of open back up. And, and with what I do for TH Marine, I'm seeing a lot of boat manufacturers are opening back up, and they're saying, hey, look, man, by June 1st, we're going to be by the first week of June, we're going to be full production like we were before this was ever even a thought. So, things, and dealer inventory's low. So, it's going to be busy. But the biggest question for you that I want to, because you're such an honest guy, and I've known you for a long time, and you are that guy that I one of the guys I respect the most in the industry by far, because you call it like you see it. You do. Yep. And I always appreciate that. And even if you're a part of something, you're like, yeah, that sucks. You'll tell you, you're the guy that if Daiwa would put out a reel and I was like, man, I wonder if people are just saying that's good or if it's whatever. And I would call you and you'd be like, no, man, you don't want that one. You want this one. You're just that guy. So the list came out with this Bass Pro Tour FLW mashup, and your name is not on the list. And I need to know why. Like what? For many reasons, for many questions. Obviously, I would think. So I'm going to throw this out there, and then you can correct me, or just tell me straight up. But I got to think that you're a guy, because when you made this move, you were 110% with what was going on, and I'm sure you're a guy that is for no entry fees, smaller fields, and all that. And you've fished FLW, so I know you have no problem with FLW. You fished FLW for years. Yep. You loved FLW. You and I fished together in an FLW one time. But and you did both trails, so I know you love FLW. So give me the reason why it didn't work out for you to do this, or you chose not to.
There's multiple reasons. First and foremost, my scheduling is, once again, I'm in demand. And the scheduling didn't fit for me. Was kind of, extending going into, that September time frame just kind of didn't work for me, because I have a lot of other stuff going on, especially with saltwater.
Okay.
I'm actually working on a foundation of kids fishing with another person, which they're not in the bass fishing industry, but they're very big name in the saltwater industry. And we're basically trying to get more kids into fishing. So I'm really wanting to focus and concentrate on that.
Okay.
Then also there is a Toyota series that also conflicts with one of the events as well. And we had a choice. We either fish all three of the FLW events, or you couldn't cherry pick. And I would love to cherry pick lacrosse if I could.
Yeah,
I love to cherry pick the Detroit River, because it's a smallmouth fishery and it's just a great event.
Yeah, it's great.
Plus the payout is actually amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
100th place gets $10,000.
Right.
So it's all good points there, but there's a Delta tournament, Toyota series. That's my backyard. It's the place that I love to fish, and I can sleep in my own bed. And so I have that. Then there's another Toyota series on Clear Lake that I want to fish. Then I have the U.S. Open as well that I want to fish. And so when I start trying to tie in 3 more of those tournaments there into September, the 2 Toyota series, the U.S. Open, it becomes, and then trying to get this foundation off the ground, there's a lot that comes with that.
I agree.
And plus still trying to get my sponsor obligations, and it was just too much for me personally.
I got you. But you're saying you're still in support of that decision they made to do that?
Yes, 100%, because they're throwing out there a ton of money.
Yeah, I get that, but I guess my question is, for a guy that's over there and is and I know they're throwing a ton of money at it, but wouldn't you rather see that money be thrown to the BPT with the coverage and everything you guys have versus throwing it into 3 FLWs though? That was my point of view if I'm a Bass Pro Tour guy, right?
Well, see, one thing is, but the behind the scenes stuff that goes with this is our television schedule.
Right.
We have to have television made for Discovery Channel. We have to have it for Outdoor Channel. We have to have it for NBC Sports. We've got so much television, but we only have a time frame of basically the third quarter is when all this television starts on Discovery Channel.
Right.
So we can't extend our tournaments any further than to allow the tournament schedule.
Is that frustrating from a standpoint, though, because the live coverage is so good?
I love live coverage. But they're going to have live coverage on the FLW.
No, I know. I'm just saying from a standpoint, if I'm one of those 80 guys, that those lives are great. JT does a killer job, like Marty. It's a great live event, and I'm almost, and I'm stubborn too, obviously, but I'm almost like, hell, let's have our events separate from FLW. Let's have our events and let's do the live coverage. And I understand the TV is the biggest thing that they sell because that's the world that those guys are in. And I get that. But here you got to look at it this way. We go from 100,000 for first place to 125,000. Mm-hmm. And then we go from 40 checks to 100 checks. That's more than 100 checks. Oh, it's more opportunities for guys to make money.
Yeah. And so that's and you got to think about it right now with what's going on for a lot of guys. They're going to need that extra money.
Listen,
from a tournament standpoint.
Yes, and that's what I said before you came on. I mean, there are a lot of guys struggling. You are very, very successful sponsor wise. You always have been, as you are on the water. You're that guy that's been able to mesh both, and the guys that can mesh both are the ones that are the most dangerous, and they're the ones that profit from it, and you've been very fortunate to do that. And there are a lot of the younger guys, especially, that haven't had that opportunity yet and don't do that. And there's even some of the veteran guys, that don't do that. So, I mean, I get it. I get a lot of it, You
got to think about it. There, with the caliber of anglers that fish the Bass Pro Tour, I mean, you got to think about it. There's going to be very few of those guys who miss a check in those next 3 events, paying down to 100 and some odd places.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And so you
They
think about
shouldn't
it,
anyway. They shouldn't miss a check anyway.
He's got an investment in there, which, yes, we know that's what tournament bass fishing's been about since day one.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time is he has a high percentage of making money.
Yeah, he's going to win him $5,000 or $6,000, you know.
Yeah, but me, on the other hand, I've got obligations. That's the same thing that I'm getting from guys like Kevin and guys like Ike. I didn't understand it before. Like when Bill Dance got away from tournament fishing, I now understand it. Hank Parker gets away from tournament fishing because of the obligations that come onto him. I better well serve my sponsors by out there working for them with dealer appearances versus fishing tournaments at times.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that somewhat. I mean, and I know Bill. Speaking of Bill, just a total side note. Bill Dance. No, Bill Dance. Not Bill. I love Bill Day. Love me some Bill Day. But Bill Dance today, dude, I went bluegill fishing. This is a total sidebar. Bill Dance has his own signature series line of red worms.
Yeah.
That's dude. We want to talk about the GOAT, this and that. Who's the GOAT? No, Bill's the GOAT. Everybody else can just sit down and be humble. Bill has red worms, man.
Exactly.
Dancing wiggler worms or whatever they're called. My dad and I went bluegill fishing this morning for the first time in years, and he shows up with Bill Dance worms. Sorry, total sidebar, but that's just how you want to be that guy. We need Ish Monroe live frogs.
I would definitely sign up for that. There we go.
We need the Ish Monroe live frog. So, well, dude, I appreciate you answering that, just because it was weird to me, and I know guys have obligations. I get that,
right.
But it was weird for me to not see all 80 guys. And some people are going to have mixed feelings about it. I have friends that are actually fishing it that are kind of mixed, about it, just because of the big field and everything. Nobody wants to fish against 200 boats anymore. If you have the chance not to, just because it makes it kind of crazy.
I mean, but that's just it. Like, I look at the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open has well over 200 boats.
Oh yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
250 boats on Lake Mead, and Lake Mead's not the greatest fishery. But that's what makes the U.S. Open so exciting.
That's a great tournament.
My deal is it doesn't work for me personally, but it works for a lot of other guys. I talked to some of the other guys that were fishing, and they did the same thing. They called me like, "Why aren't you fishing? Like, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing's wrong."
Yeah.
I just said it boils down to obligations and what fits. And a lot of these guys, they have nothing going on.
Oh, I get that. Yeah, I know that's right. I mean, they're not in high demand or what have you, and they don't have anything else going on, and they just fish tournaments, and that's what they do, and that's fine. I mean, that is what it is.
Like, I mean, I have a dealer appearance in Florida before the day before practice starts the tournament. That's 2 hours away.
I got you.
And those are the kind of things that I've got to look out is when this is all said and done, tournament fishing can go away, and you've said it, like the way things are going with tournament fishing. I have to put myself in position to keeping the sponsors happy, because those are the people that pay the bills.
Yeah, that's where you make your livings, off those marketing budgets.
If I could fit it all in, I would love to.
So,
because you know me.
Oh yeah,
I fish FLW.
Yeah, well, and you fish tournaments. You're just a tournament guy. I mean, you as well as you do at promoting and all that, you're a tournament guy, and that's a fact, man. I'm going to tell an Ish Monroe story real quick.
Oh boy,
on here. I got to. This is so Ish and I drew out with each other at Grand Lake, and he's heard me tell this story 50 times. But it was one of my favorite days on the water ever. I was fishing as a co-angler. I was out there working for TH and just got in as a co-angler. And I draw Ish, and he's in second place after day one. So I'm already nervous, like, dang, I don't want to catch anything behind this dude. He's got a chance. Ish is intense. He is intense. But he had smoked him on a frog the first day. And, dude, you kept trying to make the frog work. Kept trying to make the frog work, kept trying to make the frog work. I'd caught a couple, you had caught a couple, and then you get dialed in on some flipping fish, and you catch you a limit. I'll never forget, you kept throwing the frog, kept throwing the frog, kept throwing the frog. And We pull it into one pocket, and in a like 15-yard stretch, you put your 3 biggest bass of the day in the boat on almost consecutive casts on that damn frog. And I was just like, what just happened right here? Dude, I was so impressed. But then I'll never forget, I sat down and tied on a frog. And I'm throwing it behind you. We go like 100 yards. And I went, you know what, dude? I just realized I might as well be flipping a jig behind damn Denny Brower. Like, what am I doing? Like, all but broke my frog rod over my knee. He's like skipping it up under trees, putting it in all these awesome places. But if you ever get a chance to fish with this, you co-anglers out there, you better pay attention. I'll tell you another one real quick that I did to Ish this day. Is you don't like people touching your baits. We talked about this on Ike Live at the Classic, as a matter of fact, Bass U Live. You don't like people touching your bait, or you don't touch your baits that much. You don't like the oil on the hands. And a lot of people are superstitious in that way. And we're riding down the lake, and, dude, he's got this just juicy-looking jig, man, tied on. It's just right there in my face as we're running like 40 miles an hour. And I just, like, gently lay my hand, and he's, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, what are you doing? Like, he didn't know where my hands had been, man. I like jerked my hand back like I stuck it on an electric fence. I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry. He's only fishing for $100,000. No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah,
no big deal.
$100,000.
I'm just going to handle all over his jig with my peanut butter and jelly hand.
Yeah. And where were your hands last night? We don't know.
We don't know. It's Grove, Oklahoma. Nobody knows what goes on in Grove stays in Grove.
Long road trip away from home.
That's right. That's right. You were justified in your yelling at me, but you caught him in that tournament, dude. And I've told a lot of people the stories of fishing with you that day. Over the years of fishing co-angler on tour, really I can't say I learned a lot from people. I didn't draw a lot of guys that I just, I fished my whole life, and I fished a lot of I fished the Opens years ago before I ever decided to do the co-angler thing and then the FLW thing. So there's a lot of things that I know, and then being friends with guys like Strader and Swindle, and you know what I mean? Like, I've seen a lot of cool stuff.
You actually claimed Strader?
Yeah, well, sometimes.
I mean, you can claim Swindle for sure. Swindle's good. You can claim him, but Strader?
Yes, Strader's questionable at times.
Yeah.
But I've been fortunate to spend a lot of time in the boat with those guys and see these tricks and sneaky little stuff, over the years. And so on tour, I definitely learned a ton fishing in all the co-angler events I fished. But with you that day, man, I did learn a lot, and I got to see, because you are known for this frog. And a lot of people may say, what's the big deal about throwing a frog? But I learned so much about just your swagger, but your confidence, you know what I mean? And that's what it's like, dude, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose with this right here. If I'm going to win, I'm going to win with this right here. I learned so much about you and about that just go all in mentality that day. And it was really cool to see.
Because winning at the end of the day, winning is everything when it comes to competition.
No doubt.
That's what I'm in it for. Is I'm in it for the competition, and winning is everything.
What? So let me ask you this, because this is something I've wanted to ask you. With the format of the BPT, are you? Because I remember like last year, dude, first one, Toho. What are you down there doing? Oh, you're being Ish. You're punching and you're just in their face, catching big ones. Cussing on camera maybe a little bit. I don't know.
A little bit.
Maybe.
Just a little bit.
And I was like, yes! I'm sitting at my desk watching it. Yes, okay.
Hey, live. It shows you that it's live.
That's right. It's good. The good, bad, and the ugly.
There is no cutting. There is no, okay. No, there's censoring. There's no opportunity for that. It's live. That's the great part about it.
And that's why anybody that gets upset about language or anything, I'm like, let it roll. Like, let's let it roll. Right. Let's see the raw emotion, man, because it gets the best of all of us, Because
that's exactly what it is. It's raw emotion.
No doubt.
What's happening at that time.
But the format, though, you're just such a, and I'm not saying they don't catch big, good God, they've caught big ones. Like you guys have smashed, right? Like you can't say, it's mostly little. Like even with my arguments or criticisms of MLF, I hate.
You like it. You like it now.
Well, I know. I hate that when people say, it's mostly little fish, even when it was a lot of small ones. Like that drives me crazy because I'm like, you go fish against Jacob Wheeler at Table Rock and let me know how you do there, big guy. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, that kind of stuff drives me crazy. Just the armchair quarterback stuff and that right. But does it, especially last year, did it bug you at all? Like those kind of events, did you ever feel like, hey man, I can't go throw a damn frog like I want to. I've got to go do something different.
That was last year. And then when we upped the 2 pound minimum to a 2 pound minimum, that started to, all of a sudden things were playing in my favor, and this stupid COVID hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like we're going to Grand Lake in the spawn. We were going back to North Carolina, where I crushed them flipping.
Yes.
And actually won my 2 days there flipping. You know, I was excited, and I'm still excited about the format because we are going for heavy hitters, and you're going to see increases. You know, we're fishing at 2 pound minimum. It's going to go to a 3 pound minimum during the final round.
Is it? That's the plan for this one then?
That's the plan for this one.
On.
You know, bass fishing has been stagnant. You can't, no one can say that it hasn't been. For the last 10 years, it's been the same thing day in and day out. People are going to be confused a little bit, and I get it, and they can't keep up with the game. But the game has to change. The game has to have some excitement. The game needs, once again, we needed to catch bigger fish. And so now a guy's not going to go out there targeting those schoolers out there and 1 pound you to death. He's got to catch big ones.
Has no choice.
A 3 pound bass is a better than average bass at 90% of the lakes in the country.
And especially in Florida, you know Florida better than anybody. And there's not a bunch of 3 pounders swimming around down there.
No. I mean, you exclude Falcon and Amistad and Fork and Rayburn and Toledo Bend and Okeechobee in its heyday. 3 pounders are hard to catch.
No doubt.
Now it's going to play back into what I like to do. And then we're going to a 2 pound minimum at Champlain. And once again, if you're fishing a regular tournament and you're catching just 2 pounders anyways, you're getting beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, dude. I know the first 3 tournaments, like you said, they were, crushing big ones. You're saying spinner baiting, flipping, frogging, the stuff that you love to see. And I'm a spinning rod guy. I love a spinning rod, so I'm not hating on the Ned Rig tournaments, but
Boo.
I know. I mean, I set myself up for that with you, but Mr. 70-pound braid or 90-pound braid, whatever you. But
70-pound samurai braid all the time.
All the time. So before, because I've kept you forever, dude. But so what will June in Florida be like for those fans listening? Have you ever been to Florida in the summertime and fish? Because we normally see January, February, March at the latest. For these big national events. What are you expecting it to be like?
Well, I mean, you've seen some of those weights from those ICAST Cup events.
Yeah.
And those are only half-day tournaments.
Yep.
So imagine a full day with some of the best anglers in the world, fishing. It's going to be a big deal. And the guys are going to be targeting big fish because they have to.
No doubt.
I think it's going to be hot, but it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That one's going to be a wild card for me. I just feel like I said, for the fans, I think it's definitely an interesting one to watch just because those national trails. And I keep up. I've got buddies down there. I see their Instagram posts and their Facebook posts of what goes down in the summer down there. And there's some craziness breaks loose sometimes, man.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, those fish are used to being hot. It's not like a Tennessee river bass. They want to get in that deeper water and cool. Those fish live in 4 feet of water all year down there. They bring on the 90-degree heat. They don't give a damn.
Exactly. They love the hotter the better when it comes to Florida. And they've been catching 30-pound bags in tournaments down there. And who can't get excited about going down there with an opportunity of catching a 10-pounder? I mean. The Kissimmee chain, to me, is probably the best lakes in the state of Florida.
It's right there, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Especially with fishable cover and everything. I think the Harris chain at times for a tournament body of water has bigger fish at times, but it definitely has like a lot of 10-pounders, 12-pounders and things that you see get weighed in, local stuff. But I don't like tournaments there because I hate the idling and I hate all the, you know what I mean? Kissimmee really you can spread out, even though we got the lock. We won't even talk about the lock situations, but
the lock is what the lock is.
The lock is what it is.
And we only got 40 guys. So, and you know how it goes. Half those guys aren't going to lock through, so you're going to get everybody in 1 or 2 locks anyways, and everything's going to be fine.
Cruise on through, no issues whatsoever. So when will you start your drive back that way?
I'm actually leaving this weekend because, like I said, I've got an event I've got to be at beforehand. So I'll be leaving this weekend. Cody's going to probably leave with me, Meyer, and we're just going to drive and, get there. And once we get to Florida, he'll go head over to Kissimmee, and I'll head over to the Tampa Bay area, work Betts Fishing Center for them, and from there, go practice, and after that, head up to Ike's event, and then get home for some other stuff I've got going on here.
Some Toyota Series butt whippings out there on the that you plan on delivering to those boys on the Delta.
No, I hope so. It burns a little bit today. Them guys catching 28 pounds off that island.
Well, hey, but you got that dot now. You were already headed to it, so you're like, hey,
I already know.
I'll be back.
I'll
be back.
I know the Delta.
I know that.
I'll be back.
You'll be there. Well, dude, look, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I should have had you on a lot sooner, man, but I appreciate it. And shout out to our girl, Michelle, for hooking it all up.
Yep.
Even though she runs around with James Watson, we won't hold that against her. In the least. Of course not. But good luck to you, dude, down in Florida. That's your deal. I'll be watching. And thanks for the great chat, dude. Appreciate your honesty.
Right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ish.
All right.
All right, guys. Ish Monroe, and there it is. So we he's saying, hey man, I got tournaments that I already wanted to fish. I got some obligations, and I got some things, and there it is. And for me, talking to him there, sounds like he's all in with the MLF plan. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. And look, I said this before. You're going to see guys saying they have sponsor obligation. There's a lot of underlying reasons why these guys aren't fishing. There's a lot of them, a ton of them, and some of these guys are in higher demand than others for sponsors. But at the end of the day, bass fishing tournaments is what got you in that position in the first place. So it's going to be interesting, man, to see how it all shakes out. I really appreciate Ish coming on. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I think a lot of Ish and respect Ish, and it was a good time talking with him. We wish him the best of luck down in Florida. Want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that make Low Budget Live what it is. A great time and something that I look forward to doing. Getting behind this microphone, spouting my opinions, whether you agree with them, whether you don't. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you commenting. I appreciate you subscribing to the YouTube channel. I got a lot of stuff coming up. Of course, Boats and Pros is back. We got some exciting things coming. I had a good friend of mine reach out to me this week that is very popular in the country music world, and we're probably fixing to collab on some things on the YouTube. Going to be interesting there because Lord knows they're not playing any concerts right now. But yeah, I really just appreciate you guys. And, like I said, you don't have to agree with me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. Just come back and listen. And they're my opinions. I don't say them because I think they're right. I say them to get them off my chest and share them with you. Okay? So thank y'all for listening. Make sure you hug your mama. I'm going to take you out with a little Biloxi Blues, like always, my song that I wrote and recorded way back when. We got some new songs coming. Thank y'all. Have a great week. And we may do a live this week. Not sure yet what's going to pop up in the schedule, but keep your eyes peeled. If we do a live, you better be there. See y'all.
Jackson Town to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss, a Civil War ghost, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.